This program is brought to you by First National Bank of Botswana.
FNB, how can we help you?
When running a business means
Where did I put that receipt?
we can help you with instant accounting, free software that does your bookkeeping for you. When running a business means
Wait, what do you mean the container hasn't arrived?
we help protect your business from risk with Mohwebi Insurance. And when it means
How do we pay our staff that don't have bank accounts?
we help you make multiple payments directly to people's phones with e-wallet bulk send.
Wow, man.
At FNB, we're constantly innovating to help business owners at every stage of their journey.
Until about a decade ago, people with albinism and other skin conditions were the subject of much discrimination, stigmatization, and marginalization. In some parts of the world, especially East Africa, people still believe that people with albinism have supernatural properties, either for good luck or material gain. However, in recent years, imagery in pop culture began to change this offense by portraying people with albinism and other skin conditions such as vitiligo as desirable, majestic, and alluring. Albinism was first represented on a regal note to mainstream media with Kanye West's single Power in 2009. Since then, we began seeing more models, TV personalities, and activists with albinism partake in mainstream media avenues. Although the positive representation box is being ticked on pop culture's to-do list, some activists believe that the introduction of models with various skin conditions is a trend that exploits those with said conditions instead of normalizing and diversifying the industry. With all the cards on the table, is mainstream media exploiting people with albinism and other skin conditions to further their own disingenuous agendas, or are they creating an all-inclusive industry that normalizes all that is considered different? To share her thoughts on the matter is our guest, model activist Thando Hopa, the first woman with albinism to be on the cover of fashion publication Vogue. She believes the lines representing all minority groups are not all-encompassing, especially in the entertainment sphere. Thando shared with First Issues that as long as people with albinism are able to make ends meet, then the noise surrounding industry exploitation does not matter.
I don't care. And the reason why I say that is because I think you as whether you're a person of color, whether you've got albinism, whether you've got vitiligo, whether whatever, you need to find out if the message that they're giving complies with yours. We get asked why we are being represented. It doesn't make sense. It's self-defeating. So I don't engage. I care about whether these partnerships fuel or infuse the kind of social change I'm looking for. If they make money off it or whatever, I mean, it's business, it's their stuff. But what I care is whether the message is effective and is it actually going to create change. That's where I look at, kind of the product of it. Because you hear sometimes, I mean, people would say to me, oh, how do you feel about, albinism being such a trend, Do you feel like everybody's trying to jump on this trend? And I'm like, but trends are lipsticks. Red lipstick is a trend, purple lipstick is a trend. Me having a Duke today is a trend. These things are trends. The things that we take on and put off. We're not commodities. We are representation. We're not trends. Human bodies are not trends. So I think for me, we need to reclaim the language. When people call us trends, we say it's representation. It's not a trend. Because as soon as you say it's a trend, you're saying it's a fad, it's a passing phase, it's not supposed to happen. It's almost exclusionary type of language. So I just think if people think whatever brand that's not my problem. My problem is when I am actually partnering, what am I achieving through the representation?
So you literally said something that would have that's bringing me to my next question. Do you think that with the way the narrative is and what the way is of people's thinking, us seeing people with albinism, with vitiligo, with, you know, different colored eyes is going to be passing? Is it something, what's happening, is it enough for it to go into the long term, us normalizing everything?
I think it depends how the stories are told. So sometimes you have this trend where people in film will say, hey, we want to talk about awareness and albinism or whatever, and we want to be inclusive, right? Then they'll say, they'll take a person with albinism, put them there, have an albinism story, for like a week, and then you're done. Go, bye, we're finished with you. Everybody else gets a role that's continuous, and they develop, and there's character development, and everything goes on in that role. But when you have somebody who's different, they come in, tell a story that only focuses on the stereotype, and that person leaves, then it's never going to be sustainable. More than anything, you're perpetuating the status quo. But if you actually do sustained narratives where you give people very different experiences of the same body. So if you show a woman with vitiligo in high fashion, and you show her in portraits, and you show her being funky, and you show her being classy, and you show her as a businesswoman, as a lawyer, as a doctor, if you have all of these images of representation, that's normalizing. Because if you only show the stereotype, you only show one story over and over and over and over again, completely limiting that person's humanity and completely restricting that person to a particular lived experience, basically dismissing any kind of other lived experience that they need to have within their humanity, then it's never going to be sustained. But if you give diverse experiences of the same body, whether that body is a person with albinism, as a person of color, as a person who's got vitiligo, whatever, if you give diverse experiences and stories, it will definitely start creating a normalization of whatever the difference is.
But you are one activist, that is fine, but what other measures or standpoints should other activists as a collective be taking, you know, to normalize it? For people to realize that people who are different or hyper-visible, as you put it, you know, become included in a sustainable way?
I think we cannot, first of all, if let's say you've got an actress who chooses to go for a role that stereotypes them, and an actress who goes for a role that doesn't stereotype them, they're both okay, because both those stories are valid. And agency is important. That's what we're trying to live for. We're trying to live for human agency, for us to have options and choices, right? That's the first thing. Secondly, we can't overburden one component. So media cannot be the component that carries change alone. You need the legal fraternity to come in, you need the educational fraternity to come in, you need the political fraternity to come in. So you need sort of sustainable development using all the pillars of society working together. And with albinism, and I have to say South Africa is really moving forward with respect to that, is that they really look and hone all these pillars to see how can we create a society that allows a person, and I'll focus on albinism now, a person with albinism to actually feel included in their society. And you can see that those measures are being taken, but they don't just say, media, that's your job. Us on the legal side, we're just going to chill. Us on the, you know, like, if you have components working together, then you will start having more sustainable inclusion, not just in media, but just it will reflect in society. Yeah.
When running a business means
Where did I put that receipt?
we can help you with instant accounting, free software that does your bookkeeping for you. When running a business means
Wait, what do you mean the container hasn't arrived?
we help protect your business from risk with Mohwebi Insurance. And when it means
How do we pay our staff that don't have bank accounts?
we help you make multiple payments directly to people's phones with e-wallet bulk send.
Wow, man.
At FNB, we're constantly innovating to help business owners at every stage of their journey.
Welcome back to First Issues. Some things may seem trivial on the surface when in fact what they are runs much deeper. An example of such things is a credit card, a small plastic card issued by your bank to help you with extra funds. In some instances, you'd find individuals using this financial tool as a lifestyle chip, using it for entertainment, for example, buying unplanned alcohol for friends and eating out with a group of acquaintances. In some extreme cases, putting shopping spree expenses or even exotic vacation costs on the card until it is maxed out with a debt that will take forever to pay off. But what is a credit card? What is it supposed to be used for, and how can one make it a necessary financial tool in their lives? When talking about credit cards, there are key terms to familiarize yourself with, so you are informed on how to utilize this credit facility to better serve you.
A credit card is a credit facility availed in a transacting card, right?
Yeah.
It can be used at point of sale. You can use it at an ATM or e-commerce, buying online. When you buy online, like you buy your books online, you buy your subscriptions for your journals maybe. What the bank does, they lend you some money, but instead of giving you cash, they give you that balance on a card. So we say, okay, Bonataba is good for 10,000 pula. Then we put 10,000 pula on a card, the equivalent value of 10,000 pula.
Okay, so when does one consider getting a credit card? Is there a set time that one can say, okay, fine, now it is time for me to get a credit card?
My advice is a credit card is not a personal loan, first of all. You don't get a credit card and you go and cash out all the money in there and use it as a personal loan. I view a credit card as a convenience product to say, I have this convenience card in case of emergency.
Like, how do you make it work for you better?
Be diligent about it, and I strongly advise withdrawing cash from an ATM because when you draw cash from an ATM, it's essentially a loan, like a personal loan. So what you've done there, you've literally gotten a personal loan where I calculate interest now daily. I compound it daily, but I charge it at the end of the month. However, if you're swiping, I only charge you interest at the end of the billing period. So say your billing period is from the 1st to the 31st of the month. So the transactions that you're doing from the 1st, the 2nd, all that, I bill you on the 30th, right, on the last day of the month. And then I give you about 20 days to pay me back as a financial institution. And then after your payment date, if you pay a fraction of what you owe, I charge you interest on the balance only. If you pay me everything that you owe, I don't charge you interest on that at all. The only thing is if you cash, then it compounds daily and I charge it regardless of whether you pay everything or not. You'll be charged interest.
We have, in our own little research, have seen that there are different, I don't know, tiers, if you may call them, like the levels of credit card that one may have. Do the tiers affect how you would buy or how you'd use your credit card and the interest rate, or just generally how the whole setup works?
So you'd find that the difference, first of all, would be the amount of credit limit you can get, the amount of debt you're good for. So if you are good for a lower balance, then you'll get a tier 1, let's call it tier 1 type of card. And then depending, then you get tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. So usually as the tiers go higher, financial institutions would put in rewards and maybe benefits. So you'd find that other tier cards would have access to lounges for people for your frequent travelers, for example. So that's how you differentiate it. It's also based around the lifestyle components of a customer, and it's just the rewards that are laced. So a tier 1 card works just as well as a tier 4, 5 card. The only difference is the amount of money available for use will be less than the other.
Tepisa says, generally people are hesitant to get credit cards, but are quick in attaining store cards to get clothes from retail stores on credit, not realizing the high interest rates that come with them and that they are limiting to only 1 or 2 stores.
If you realize you meet a lot of people and you tell them about a credit card and tell them, oh my goodness, I can't do a credit card, I'm afraid of debt. Yeah. Same person would have 3-4 store cards in their wallet. Yeah. So you're like, what's the difference between a bank credit card and this? No, this one, it keeps me disciplined. I can only shop at shop X and only when I need to. And you think back within yourself to say, it's actually confining because it's restricted you to 1 or 2 or 3 stores. That's one. 2, the interest on store cards, because remember, these are not financial institutions. So the interest is way higher than what a credit card would give you. Okay. That's the second point. So from a bank perspective, that store credit card allows you to transact in any store, in any payment platform. So it gives you convenience in a wide spectrum of places, depending on your lifestyle. We're evolving human beings. That store card that you have in your wallet, that is the one that prevents you from having a credit card, for example, may not suit your life needs in 2 years. But the credit card will evolve with you. It transforms with you. So you decide as you transform, as you evolve in your financial knowledge and acumen and needs, where you're going to use it.
When running a business means
Where did I put that receipt?
we can help you with instant accounting, free software that does your bookkeeping for you. When running a business means
Wait, what do you mean the container hasn't arrived?
we help protect your business from risk with Mohwebi Insurance. And when it means
How do we pay our staff that don't have bank accounts?
we help you make multiple payments directly to people's phones with e-wallet bulk send.
Wow, man.
At FNB, we're constantly innovating to help business owners at every stage of their journey.
Welcome back to the program. Tonight on our personal finance management segment, our guest Tumelo Boitumelo says psychologists have actually found out there are several forces that govern our consumer behavior and cause us to make decisions that are not necessarily rational or even within our best interest. But she says understanding why we buy what we buy can help us make better decisions in the future.
Psychology of spending is a very interesting topic because it talks about how merchandisers or retailers have mastered the way the minds work or the way our brains work, how to lure us in, the colors to use, how to arrange products in shops, you know, those sale tags to sort of get us to spend. And they'll tell you that the more time you spend in a shopping mall, the more you spend. They've even created food courts so that in between you can have a meal while on transit to the next store. These are all deliberate and intentional as a way of tapping into how our mind works. Have you ever realized that when you owe somebody 500 pula, when you go to the ATM, how much do you cash? You will never cash the 500 pula. Rather, you would say, let me take 700, you know, in case I need something or need to buy something. But my purse can't just be without money. Let me just, you know, for decoration, put the 200 there. These are things we do to convince ourselves. And you realize that in retail shops, a basic thing such as bread, which we consume every day, is put at the far end. It could be something you get in and grab, pay and leave. But no, you're going to go through shelves and be tempted. Or remember, oh, the condiments are running out. Oh, this spice is nice. This is such a bargain, there's a sale. In other instances, you'd find a person who walked into the store without a trolley or shopping basket. They now have to go back and get it because along the way they remembered or they were tempted to buy. No, it's all part of merchandising. There's also an element of sale. A person will feel under pressure that it's 50%, I can't let it go. But do you know that every month there's a sale? And some even justify the actions by saying, the shoe was 5,000, now it's only 2,000. When am I ever going to get this opportunity? It happens every month, and some months are better than others. So if you have not budgeted for it, if you do not need it, then you do not need to react to that sale. And it's very important to understand what tempts you. What is your weakness? For some people, clothes are the weakness. For some people, wholesale shopping is their weakness. Or these sales where they tell you, you get it in packs or in fours. If you buy 3, you get 1 free. You know? But do you need those things? Or are you already stocked up at home? So these are things that you need to ask yourself. There'll also be interesting, sales, such as the famous Black Friday. You would realize the sale is only on a few selected items. But the way our minds work, once we see one red tag, everything becomes cheaper. We believe we can afford a lot of things and we end up spending more. There's nothing wrong with sales or bargain shopping. The problem is now when you overspend. So ensure that you take advantage of sale or bargain shopping for things that you know you need or you had intentions of buying. Not where you already have 3 pairs of shoes that you haven't worn and you go ahead and get another pair of shoes. We do know, especially ladies, that closets are full of clothes that still have tags because they haven't worn them. And they simply acquired them in that process of, it's a sale, I might just need this dress somewhere. 6 months later, you haven't needed to wear the dress. So it's important to understand the psychology of spending, understand yourself, and realize some of these sales you don't need to participate in.
Worked all the time, constantly exhausted, constantly fatigued, emotionally depleted. It's a job that's very, very unrewarding.
Once every 3 years I find myself questioning why I'm still here, why I'm still in this career.
The Life of a Medical Doctor, Tuesday, 8 p.m.
This program was brought to you by First National Bank of Botswana.
FNB, how can we help you?